Yeah. Yo, what's going on? It's your boy King Jut, and I'm back again with another video. So today, I'm going to be going over NFL fantasy top fantasy picks. And today, I will be reviewing the top 12 picks in the 2021 NFL fantasy football draft. Number one overall pick in my projection, and basically would be the best available number one pick if you're at the number one spot. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have to say my boy Derrick Henry. So with that in mind, at the number one pick, I would recommend to get Derrick Henry. Every year he's been in the league, we've watched his rushing yardage go up at least by 250 yards. Last year with the 2,027 yards on the ground. But now going into a 17-game season, maybe I'm wrong. Henry should be in scoring position quite a bit this year, knowing the Titans went out and acquired Julio Jones this offseason. There's no scenario where your offense gets worse in that equation. However, we don't know the offense. Still, with Jones and A.J. Brown on the perimeter, it's going to be tough for other opponents to stack the box, which gives a very high ceiling for Derrick Henry. So that would be my recommendation for the number one overall pick. Coming in at number two, Christian McCaffrey, which his role remains unchanged. He's had the same role in Carolina for the last few seasons. The last couple seasons, he's put up some beast numbers. Now, last season, we can scratch that as a wash just because he only appeared in 3 games last season due to injuries. Even with the injuries in play, if he comes back healthy and hits the ground running, he will be dangerous in NFL fantasy football. Every year, he's putting up crazy, ridiculous numbers, guys, and he's literally putting up stats as a quarterback would. So I would definitely snatch him up at the 2 spot. If you don't, you are going to feel sorry later. Number 3, Dalvin Cook. So if you have the 3rd pick in the NFL fantasy draft, go ahead and get on that Cook. Grab Cook. Cook had a career year last season, 14 games. He was really impressive. On the other hand, he still hasn't made it through a regular season without getting injured. That is one of the downfalls of having him. But if he stays completely healthy, he will bring a lot of depth to your fantasy squad. The Vikings also invested in their offensive line in the draft by adding Christian Darrisaw and the guard Wyatt Davis. They are really set up to have a great running offense. So that's my projection for the 3rd pick. I would get Dalvin Cook. Coming in at number 4, Saquon Barkley. After setting the fantasy world on fire his rookie season with over 2,000 yards from scrimmage and 15 touchdowns, Barkley hasn't exactly lived up to the expectations, producing only 1,535 total yards and 8 touchdowns over 15 games the last 2 seasons. He also tore his ACL early in the season, which should give him plenty of time to bounce back. Though his violent running style, he just likes running people over, he puts his body at risk a lot on the field. The Giants suddenly have more weapons than ever in the passing game, so that could also hinder Barkley's ceiling this year. But don't get discouraged on Saquon Barkley because we've all seen this man running. And I believe that this season, this man has a point to prove, and he is going to shock the doubters. Snatch him up at the 4 spot. Coming in at number 5, Nick Chubb. Based on the actual opportunity Chubb got in 2020, he should have finished as the running back 24 in half of PPR formats. Instead, Chubb scored 54.5 more fantasy points than the average running back would have, and finished as the running back 9 despite playing in only 12 games, people. New offense provided to be very beneficial to the run game for them. Even though Kareem Hunt is present on the offense, it does limit Chubb to his touches, but he still has a very, very high ceiling this season, and I do recommend that you snatch him up at the 5 spot. Coming in at number 6, Alvin Kamara. Now that Drew Brees is gone, targeted his running backs at least 28% of the time. We don't know if Jameis Winston is going to be able to be even close to what Drew Brees was able to do. If he gets into a good feel of this offense and he gets a very, very significant role in this offense, considering Drew Brees is gone and they go to the running game, he is going to make a killing in fantasy. He did great last year in fantasy, put up a lot of points, and he had a lot of great games. With Kamara, the only thing with him is you may see him fluctuate. He may be inconsistent at times due to the fact that Drew Brees is no longer in that offense. But I am more than confident enough to say that he is the number 6 pick in the fantasy draft. Coming in at lucky number 7, Ezekiel Elliott. Follow the production in the first round. There's just one player who's finished as a top 12 running back 5 times since 2015. That player is Elliott, and as crazy as it sounds, he wasn't even in the league in 2015. But Elliott tanked last year to running back 11. The entire team sank without Dak Prescott. But in the 5 games with him, Elliott has the number 3 running back in fantasy. If he keeps falling until the end of the first round, there will be a lot of championship rosters going around this year in the league because a lot of people, I feel, are going to sleep on Ezekiel Elliott. If Dak Prescott returns to this offense early into the season, Ezekiel Elliott can have very high potential as a fantasy prospect and can put up some crazy numbers for your team. So if you have the opportunity to get him at the 6th spot, I would grab him and not think twice. Number 8, Tyreek Hill. Hill was more of a streaky wide receiver earlier in his career, and he was railed on big plays to get him into the wide receiver 1 territory, though that seemingly ended in 2020, where he saw 10 plus targets in 7 different games. Those numbers combined with his efficiency equals big things, and there's no reason to think that these stats are going to go away. Travis Kelce is going to be 32 years old, which he is beginning to age. Sammy Watkins is no longer in this offense, and they bought in no big name wide receivers, so that looks like Tyreek Hill is going to be the main primary target in this offense. So if you have the opportunity and you have the 8th pick, go after Tyreek Hill, but I would monitor his health because he does have a history of getting injured, and that is one of the downfalls of getting Tyreek Hill, but it is worth it in the end because when he returns to this offense, he is going to be a beast. Coming in at number 9, Aaron Jones. Now there's an article that is done every year highlighting which players perform better than expected based on where their touches took place, as well as many carries, targets they receive. And Aaron Jones has finished number 7, number 4, number 4, and number 16 over the last 4 years on that list, which highlights just how good he is. During that time, he scored 143.4 more fantasy points than the average running back would have. Him and Alvin Kamara are much more similar than most people realize. You can look at the production at the top of the drafts, and Jones has proven time and time again that he is a worthy pick in the top 10 of the candidates that are on those lists. Aaron Rodgers might not show up on certain nights, but come on, we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, which is going to put them in the red zone a lot of times. He's going to have very high potential to get red zone touchdowns, and I think he is going to put up some insane, crazy fantasy numbers and be a top 5 running back in fantasy. That's just my prediction. Don't hold me to it, but that's what I believe. So go ahead on at the number 9 spot. If you want to go ahead and get a legit running back and a player that is going to set your squad off, get that Aaron Jones. Coming in at number 10, Devonta Adams. If you're planning on taking a wide receiver in the first round, you better make sure he's going to perform without a question. Adams is that player. As he performed as a wide receiver 1 in 22 of his last 4 games, 53.7%, which is historically good. And it's a 3-year sample size. During that time, he scored fewer than 11.1 PPR points just 4 times, and once was due to leaving with an injury. As long as Aaron Rodgers is with the Packers, Adam will be a can't-miss wide receiver 1. He's going to be a hot target, y'all. Get your hands on Devonta Adams. I've had him on my fantasy team in the past, and let me say, he will do some damage for you week after week. As long as he's healthy and he's on the field, and Aaron Rodgers is behind that line throwing the football, you better get him at the 10th spot, because if you don't, somebody's going to pick him at 11. Coming in at number 11, Jonathan Taylor. With Nyheim Hines playing a big role in the passing game last year and Marlon Mack returning from a ruptured Achilles, there was a lot of speculation that Taylor could see carries in 2021 after a strong rookie season where Taylor finished 3rd in the league with 1,169 yards. The 2020 second-round pick seems to have earned himself more work. Taylor's value has been plummeting in drafts due to the injuries to quarterback Carson Wentz and offensive guard Quentin Nelson. With recent news that Wentz should return on the early side of his 5 to 12 week timetable, Taylor could end up being a great value in fantasy football drafts. I think he holds a high value, and I do believe that he is going to be the guy in the backfield this year and this season, so he could have huge results in fantasy football. Go ahead on and get on Jonathan Taylor. He is a solid pick at the number 11 spot, and you won't be unsatisfied by snatching this running back. Coming in at number 12, Antonio Gibson. Aside from running well, Washington used Gibson all over the field, including splitting him out as a wide receiver, which is great because the potential for him to put up great fantasy numbers is there. Gibson was spilled on 3rd downs from McKissick, but this shouldn't be a significant concern. In the preseason, early in the first quarter, Gibson twisted up a defender with a nifty spin move, and it looks like he has some star potential, and he could be a great threat in this offense if they get the running game going. So with that in mind, with the 12th pick, and you have it, this is a great running back you can snatch up. That can be your running back 1, and he can serve you well throughout your fantasy season. Well, that is the final top 12th pick for the 12-man leagues, all the way down to the 10 and 8-man leagues. This should give you some insight on who you can pick. Thank you for watching. Tune in until next time. Please make sure you hit the like button, comment on this video, and please subscribe to the channel. Once again, this is King Jut signing out. Look forward to seeing you next time with more updates.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, 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 yeah.